The weather's heating up, and if you're still rocking your winter scents, it's time for a serious switch up. Whether you're just starting your summer collection or looking for fresh picks that aren't boring, I've got you covered. These 10 fragrances are perfect for the season. They're long lasting. Most of them on this list are compliment magnets and straight up vacation vibes in a bottle. And trust me, my number one pick is something you don't want to miss. Let's get into it. We're going from number 10 all the way to number 1. And just because something is ranked lower doesn't mean it's worse. It's all based on what I've been reaching for most lately. That said, let's kick it off with number 10, Xerjoff Erba Pura. This is probably the strongest, longest lasting fragrance on the entire list, and also one of my most complimented. On top of that, it's from one of my all-time favorite fragrance houses. Erba Pura is easily the fruitiest fragrance on here, which is exactly why it works so well for the summer, and also spring too. It opens with a citrusy burst, mainly orange and lemon with a slight bitterness, but that quickly fades to the background. What really dominates is this juicy mix of fruits that takes over and stays with you through the entire wear. There's a touch of creaminess from the vanilla in the base, not super prominent, but it peeks through depending on your skin chemistry. And then there's also a musky undertone that kind of drifts in and out. It's like you catch a whiff of it, then it disappears, then it shows up again. It's got that mysterious layering that I like. Now this scent is loud, like beast mode loud. It projects like crazy for the first 4 to 7 hours long plus, and then settles a little bit. But even after that, you're still leaving a powerful scent trail. It's one of those fragrances that sticks around no matter how hot it gets or how much you sweat, which I really like because I never ever have to worry about if someone can smell me. Because with this, I know everyone is getting a whiff. Quick disclaimer though, this is not the safest blind buy. Try it first if you can. You'll usually find it at Saks, Neiman Marcus, and some Nordstroms. A lot of people assume this will be a masculine scent, but it's actually 100% unisex. In fact, I know more women who wear it than men, which honestly works in our favor. If you're a guy wearing this, you're wearing a scent women already love, which ups your compliment game. Also, if you do pick up a bottle, it might not look like mine. Xerjoff recently changed the design. They removed the velvet finish and replaced it with a shiny glass bottle. Kinda unfortunate in my opinion. I really like that plush look, but just something to keep in mind. Next up at the number 9 spot, we've got Parfums de Marly Perseus. And I'll be honest, when I first smelled this one, I wasn't really impressed. It came off a bit generic to me and I expected more from a niche fragrance that cost over $200. It just didn't wow me at first. But over time, this one really grew on me. I started reaching for it more often and now I appreciate it a lot more than I used to. Now, Parfums de Marly actually makes some good summer scents. Perseus and Sedley are two popular options, but for me, those didn't perform well on my skin. And if I'm dropping that kind of money, I need performance. No question, Perseus though definitely delivers on that front. It's probably the best performing freshie in their lineup. I get around 12 hours of longevity with this, which is solid. And the projection, it pushes really hard for the first 3 hours and leaves a noticeable scent trail behind. If you ever tried Terre d'Hermès, this is kind of like a niche version of that. Similar DNA, just more refined and complex. Honestly, if you don't want to spend the money on Perseus, Terre d'Hermès is a great, more affordable alternative, like $100 less. In terms of scent profile, this is a citrus dominated fragrance from start to finish. Grapefruit is the star of the show, and it's supported by bergamot, which adds a dry edge, and green mandarin, which gives it a small lift and a touch of sweetness. That dryness from the bergamot is just the beginning though. The vetiver and woody notes really dial up the dryness and bring in this earthy, almost dry tree bark type of vibe. I think that was actually the part I didn't really like at first when I tried it. It felt a bit too dry for my taste personally, but it's definitely grown on me. And now I see it as a part of what makes the scent slightly unique. It's boring but slightly unique because of that dryness, if that makes sense. As far as when to wear this fragrance, I'd say it's pretty versatile, though it's not something I'd wear in extreme heat. That dry woodiness can be a bit much in really hot weather, but otherwise it's great for work, breakfast outings, chill days, errands, stuff like that. I wouldn't wear this for a romantic date night or a special occasion, but for everyday wear, it fits right in. I don't want my date to say I smell like dry lemons and a tree bark, you know? That's not something I'm really going for. Coming in at number 8 is a new release, and it's from Argos. This one's called Neptunes Trident. Before I even get into how it smells, I gotta say, the bottle design on this one is just crazy. The artwork is insane. Every time I look at it, I imagine myself being artistic, but then I quickly realize I'm not Da Vinci out here. Now, what surprised me with this release is that I've never really known Argos for their summer or fresh fragrances. I've always thought of the brand as more bold, rich, winter heavy scents, those darker, heavier types. So when I heard they were putting out a summer release, I was honestly a bit skeptical. I didn't know if they could pull off a proper warm weather fragrance, sorry Argos, but man, I was wrong. Neptune's Trident is actually really good. It gives off a similar vibe to Louis Vuitton Imagination, but it's definitely got its own twist. You could pick up on some familiar elements, but it's not a clone by any means. As for the scent itself, it opens with a subtle sweetness from mandarin orange paired with a citrusy background. What's cool here is that the citrus doesn't go to that sharp, bitter route like some other freshies. Instead, it feels more natural and has this sparkling, uplifting quality to it that just feels bright and refreshing. There's also this clean, soapy aspect to it that really boosts the mass appeal. It gives off that freshly showered vibe without smelling like actual soap. And layered in there, there's a black or green tea note, something herbal and airy that gives it this chill, almost calming energy. Like you're energized but relaxed at the same time. I also pick up the faintest trace of spice in the background. It's not loud by any means, it's barely even noticeable unless you're really dialed in, but it adds a nice little bit of complexity. And the overall vibe I get when I wear this, it's like standing near the ocean, but not in that salty, marine heavy way. It's more like catching that clean, breezy ocean air right off the shore. Super fresh, smooth, and just easy to wear. And this being Argos, you already know the performance is gonna be solid. I get about 10 hours on my skin, which is honestly great for a fresh fragrance. It's not their strongest fragrance in terms of projection, but for a summer scent, very respectable longevity. Dude, I still can't get over this artwork. Like, is this handmade? Is it like printed? I'm so curious on how these artwork patches are like made. And holding down the 7th spot is none other than Acqua Di Gio Profondo. Now this one's been through a lot with me. I've traveled with this scent across states and even to different countries. And if I'm ever packing it back for a beach trip, you better believe Profondo is getting tossed in the suitcase. Not actually tossed, I don't want to break it. Scratch that. It doesn't even have to be a beach trip though. If I'm heading anywhere hot, this comes with me, no questions. And look, just take a peek at the bottle. I've used more than half. That alone should tell you how much I reach for it, especially when I lived in Florida. Good times, but bad times because of the humidity. This was my go-to scent when I lived there. It literally smells like a Florida beach on a hot, sunny day. The opening has a touch of citrus, but that doesn't hang around too long. Pretty quickly, the marine and aquatic notes start to take over the whole scent. It's like standing right at the edge of the water. Waves hitting your legs, sea breeze in your face. That salty, fresh ocean air vibe. Yeah, that's exactly what this fragrance gives off to me. One thing that throws some people off is the mineralic note in here. But personally, I like it. It adds to the whole marine oceanic feel, like that subtle scent of wet stones or coastal rocks. It's clean, breezy, and just super fresh. Honestly, this fragrance hits me with nostalgia every time I smell it. And I think that's part of why it's ranked so high on my list. But even beyond the memories, it's just a solid summer fragrance. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is one of the best designer freshies out there. Let me know if there's one better than this one for summer. And let's not forget, it pulls compliments, a lot of them. People just respond well to it. You smell like the ocean and people love the ocean. So naturally, they're drawn to that vibe. It's calming, inviting, easy to be around. I've worn this to work, on casual days, running errands, you name it. It's such an easy grab because it works in pretty much any setting. Plus performance is solid for a designer fragrance. I get about 8 hours on my skin, which is more than enough for a full day. And if I ever need to, I'll just simply reapply. Simple as that. Also, if you're someone who sweats a lot in the heat and you've been wondering what fragrance holds up, this is a great pick. It actually seems to project more when your body heats up, which is a huge win for me because naturally I sweat a lot in the summer. So this is just an easy grab scent for me for those type of days. Now, at the number 6 spot, we've got my favorite Amouage fragrance of all time, Reflection Man. Now this one is a bit tricky for some people, I'll be honest. It leans heavily into white florals and has a powdery character, which isn't everyone's vibe, and I completely understand that. It's definitely not the most traditionally masculine scent out there. It's more on the unisex side. But for me personally, I love it. I stand behind it. I've talked about it. I've used it so much. And here's something funny. Some of my friends and even other fragrance reviewers have smelled this and told me it reminds them of tortilla. Strange, but yeah, I guess it smells like tortilla to them. I wish I was joking. I've heard that from more than one person. Personally, I don't get that at all, but hey, maybe they were just hungry and in the mood for tortilla when they smelled it. If you ever tried Reflection Man, let me know. Does it smell like tortilla to you, or is their nose just bugging out? Anyways, what's interesting about Amouage as a brand is that most of their fragrances are deep, complex, and bold. They usually hit you with intense spice, incense, or some wild blend of notes. But this one's a bit of the black sheep of the brand. It's easily the most wearable, the most approachable Amouage scent I've ever come across. I remember the first time I tried Amouage Interlude Black Iris. It literally woke up my senses like no other scent. But Reflection Man, this one's way more chill and way more smooth. I think the first time I tried Amouage Interlude, I was scared to try anything else from the brand. That one just hits insane. This scent opens and stays consistent with a beautiful white floral blend. Jasmine, neroli, and iris. Those notes give it that signature powdery, airy, floral freshness with just a subtle hint of sweetness. It's clean, it's elegant, and it kind of makes me imagine walking through a field of white flowers on a sunrise on a spring morning. But what really takes this to another level for me is the sandalwood. That creamy, soft woodiness, just wraps around the florals perfectly. I'm a huge sandalwood fan in general, and in here it's done so well. It adds a smooth, almost milky sweetness to the fragrance that gives it some depth and some warmth. And then in the background, there's this soft woody base that ties everything together. Floral, creamy, fresh, and a little sweet. It's blended beautifully in my opinion. And of course, it's an Amouage fragrance, so performance is given. I get about 10 hours of longevity with this. No problem at all. Projection's good, not beast mode, but definitely noticeable and long lasting. For me, this works best in spring and summer. But honestly, it's versatile enough to be used all year round. A daily driver for sure. Now, yes, it does retail for around $380, which is steep, but here's the good news. You can find this on fragrance discounters for like $180, that's what I got it for. And at that price, it's totally worth it. You're getting luxury level quality from one of the best niche houses in the game. All right, we're officially in the top 5 now. Kicking it off at number 5 is a summer favorite from one of my top niche brands, Xerjoff. It's none other than Torino 21. Now, if you know me, you know how much I love Xerjoff. I had Erba Pura on this list and now Torino 21. I've tried a lot of their stuff, probably more than I should admit. But out of everything I've tested from the brand, this one right here is hands down my #1 summer pick from that brand altogether. And just to show you how real that is, look at the juice level of this fragrance. It's almost empty. And that might not sound wild to some people, but listen, I own over 300 fragrances. I rotate through them constantly. I'm always testing something new, always switching things up. So the fact that I'm this close to finishing a bottle, it's kind of insane to me. I legit haven't emptied out a fragrance in like 2 years since I started collecting. But this one, I just keep reaching for it over and over again. And let me tell you why I love it so much. And that is because the addition of mint. That's the note that really sets this fragrance apart from me. It's not a note you see done well too often in perfumery, especially in freshies. And when it's done right like this, it just hits different. Torino 21 has 2 standout notes that carry throughout the entire wear: lemon and mint. The lemon gives it this bright, sharp, citrusy opening, kind of sour but vibrant and lively. And then the mint kicks in with this cooling, refreshing vibe. It also adds a soft spiciness to it that gives the scent some personality and edge. I used to put mint in my tea all the time growing up, so I've always had this nostalgic thing for minty smells. There's also a bit of greenery and a hint of spice that sits in the background, but really it's the mint and lemon combo that makes the scent what it is. So to me, it smells like, you know that feeling when you pop in a breath mint, that instant coolness, that refreshing hint, that slight tingle. That's the kind of imagery I get when I spray this fragrance on. It's energizing and calming at the same time. Now, I will say this isn't the best performer on the market. I get around 7 hours of longevity with it, which isn't bad, but it's not amazing either. And honestly, I think that's a big reason why I've gone through the bottle so fast. I've definitely been overspraying just to make up for the moderate performance. It does have great projection for the first couple hours, but after that it becomes more of a skin scent. Still, it's worth every spray. If you're looking for a refreshing, minty, citrus fragrance that's perfect for the heat, Torino 21 is honestly that guy. Now at the #4 spot, we've got Nishane Ani X. Now this is actually the only Nishane fragrance I own right now, unfortunately. I've been dying to get my nose on others from the brand like Hashava Oud or Wulong Cha X, which I keep hearing are really solid summer bangers. But for whatever reason, I just haven't had any luck finding Nishane anywhere near me. It's like they're hiding from me or something, like come on. So the way I ended up with Ani X was through a good friend of mine, TJ Talk Sense. You probably already heard of him. He picked it up and had nothing but praise for it. And I trust his nose, man. He's got great taste, so I did something a little risky, but something that I love. I blind bought it based on his recommendation. And I'm so glad I did, because as soon as I smelled this, I was in love at first sniff. This one's a little different from the rest of the scents on this list. Yeah, it has the lemon opening you'd expect from a summer fragrance, but instead of being a sharp or bitter, it's a tart, almost juicy smell. What really sets this apart though is the vanilla note. It adds this sweet, creamy, gourmand twist you don't usually see in summer scents. It literally smells like a vanilla lemon cake. And I mean that in the best way possible. There's also a little spice running in the background, but the main players are that bright lemon and that cozy, smooth, delicious vanilla. And that combo, it gives this scent a totally different vibe from everything here. Most summer fragrances go all in, the citrus, aquatic, green notes, but this one brings dessert to the beach kind of vibe. People always ask me if I prefer this or the original Ani, and I'll say it's Ani X wins it for me. It's more appealing, more versatile, and just more enjoyable overall. If you already own Ani and you're on the fence about picking up Ani X, don't worry. It's not just a repetitive flanker. It brings something new to the table, no doubt. And as for performance, it's really solid. I get around 10 hours of longevity, and the projection is great for the first 3 hours or so. Now I gotta mention something weird that happened recently with this fragrance, unfortunately. After wearing it like I normally do, I had this strange allergic reaction, a rash that popped out of nowhere, and that's never happened with me with any fragrance before. I've used Ani X plenty of times with no issue, so I don't know if it was the scent or just a coincidence. I'm gonna test it again and see, but I'm definitely hoping it wasn't this, because if it was, I'm going to be really sad. And quick question to you guys, have you ever had a similar reaction to a fragrance before? Was it just one specific fragrance, or have you had it happen with multiple? Let me know, I'm curious, because this is the first time I've ever experienced something like this. Now this is where things get tough, because honestly, any of these top 3 fragrances could easily swap spots depending on my day or mood. But no matter what order they're in, just know, these are some of the heavy hitters, the best of the best in my summer rotation lately. So starting it off at number 3 is a fragrance from a brand I only just discovered this year, Room 1015 WaveChild. And once again, shout out to TJ for putting me on this one. The way he hyped it up had me curious, and once I finally got my nose on it, he was right again. This scent is an absolute banger, and I was absolutely impressed. Now I know the bottle gives off major blue freshy energy, but don't let that fool you. This isn't your typical citrusy aquatic scent. What really makes this fragrance stand out is a note I've never really encountered like this before in any other scent, and that note is watermelon. But let me clarify, this isn't that ultra realistic, juicy, straight out the fridge kind of watermelon. It's more candy-like. Think watermelon gum or a Jolly Rancher. It's sweet, fruity, and has that sugary vibe that immediately feels playful and mouth-watering. Backing that up is a light aquatic breeze with a hint of saltiness that runs in the background. That marine element helps give the whole thing a bit of a tropical vacation vibe. It smells like something you'd wear on a beach trip, fresh out the pool, under the sun, drink in hand. Now the downside, and yeah, this one hurts to say, it just doesn't perform the way I wish it did. The opening is amazing, and it projects well for about the first 2 hours. But after that, it starts pulling back quick. It becomes more of a skin scent, which is rough for a fragrance like this. Like seriously, if this thing had beast mode performance, I see it at the number 1 spot 100%. And I enjoy the scent a lot, just the performance is lacking. So yeah, Room 1015 WaveChild. A super unique summer gem in my opinion. That sweet watermelon twist just gets me. If you're okay with reapplying or layering with a matching lotion or something like that, it's absolutely worth it. Just don't expect it to last all day, unless you overspray a lot and reapply if you can. Now this next one, I low-key wanted to gatekeep. I'm not a person who gatekeeps, but this one almost made me do it because it's that good. Hands down, this might be the best fragrance I've ever smelled from Gucci. And surprisingly, it's the first time a Gucci fragrance has ever made it into one of my top 10 lists. And the one that did it is Osmanthus Nectar from their Alchemist Garden line. I'll be honest, the first time I sprayed this, my expectations weren't high. Because let's keep it real, Gucci fragrances, they're usually alright, decent, but not the most mind-blowing scents too. But this one, it completely caught me off guard. I couldn't stop sniffing it. You know when a fragrance hits so hard, you keep going back for more? That was me. So let's get into how it smells. This is an apricot dominant scent through and through. Right off the top, it's juicy, sweet, mouth-watering. Okay, relax. That fruity richness hits you immediately, like biting into a ripe golden apricot on a warm day. It's fresh, it's delicious, and it pulls you in instantly. But it doesn't stop there. There's this soft green tea note that weaves through it, adding a gentle herbal freshness and a bit of lift to balance out the sweetness. And behind that, you'll notice a creamy, almost edible warmth that gives it a cozy base. So it's fruity, floral, a little creamy, and just super elegant in my opinion. To me, this smells like a niche summer fragrance done right. Bright, playful, luxurious, but with a sophistication that sets it apart from your typical fruity designer stuff. Now, like most great things, there's a catch or two, sad to say. First, the price. Since this is from Gucci's private line, it'll run you $400 retail, which is steep, no doubt. Personally, I don't know if I'd say it's worth that full retail price, but if it ever hits discounters, I'd say absolutely it's worth it at a better deal. And second, performance. It smells like an 11 out of 10, but unfortunately, it wears more like a 7 out of 10. I get about 6 hours of longevity. On hotter days, it starts becoming a skin scent within the first hour or two. You'll still catch soft whiffs throughout the day, but it's definitely not a powerhouse at all, not even close to one. Still, despite those two drawbacks, the quality, uniqueness, and flat out addictiveness of this scent earned this its number 2 spot. I genuinely think it's one of the best hidden gems from Gucci that they ever released, and honestly, I almost didn't want to tell you guys about it. Gucci, if you somehow stumble on this, release this fragrance with better performance, make it 600, and I might buy it. Maybe. Now, I wanted to give this fragrance right here the number 1 spot, but unfortunately it fell short of being the number 1 spot because of its performance. And I haven't had it that long, so I still need to experience it more. Now, the number 1 spot is going to go to the golden boy of summer fragrances, this one right here. And in just 5 months, this has shot up past tons of others in my collection and solidified its place right at the top. If you've seen my video on the top 5 most complimented fragrances, you already know why this is there. But if you haven't, I'll throw that video up here in the corner for you to check it out later. And the fragrance is Louis Vuitton Imagination. Easily the best fresh fragrance from the brand when it comes to that price to performance to smell ratio. I mean, for $300, you want something that delivers. And this absolutely does it. It smells incredible, lasts through a full day, and turns heads like crazy. Compliments non-stop for me personally. I've had it for 5 months, like I said, and the bottle is already halfway gone. That might not sound wild until I remind you again that I rotate between hundreds of different fragrances. For this to be getting used this much says everything you need to know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm absolutely glazing the hell out of this fragrance, and I don't even care. It deserves it. When this bottle runs dry, you better believe I'm refilling it without a hesitation. Now let's talk scent. The opening is super clean, refreshing, bursts of citrus. We're talking citron, bergamot, and orange, giving off this slightly tart, juicy, vibrant vibe right off the bat. Then you get this soft kick of ginger, just enough to give it a warm little spice that adds character without losing that clean, bright feel. But the real magic here, the black tea note. It adds a smooth, slightly green, almost calming vibe that brings the whole composition together. It gives this scent a unique twist that elevates it above your typical freshie. To me, it smells like luxury done right. Like a high-end designer soap, but way more refined and layered. It's classy, it's versatile, it's mass appealing, and honestly, with how often it gets compliments, the $330 price tag doesn't feel that out of pocket. I used to be shocked I spent that much on this fragrance, but after wearing it this much, I don't regret it one bit. And that wraps up my top 10 summer fragrances of the year so far. Let me know in the comments which of these you've tried, or if there's a summer gem you think I have to check out. I'm always on the hunt for new favorites to compete against my other freshies. And if you've enjoyed this video, drop a like, it really helps the channel out. And if you're into fragrance content like this, hit that subscribe button, please press it, so you don't miss on any future videos. I've got more bangers coming real soon, hopefully. And if you've got any recommendations or videos you want to see specifically, let me know in the comments. But for now, peace out.